Hi, I'm Carmen from the Creative Sewist blog, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I turned these pants into jogger style pants. If you also have pants that you would like to turn into jogger style pants, feel free to follow along. It should work with any pants as long as they have enough width at the ankle that you will get that nice gathering effect. It won't really work on slim fitting tapered leg pants because there won't be enough volume to create the gathered look. Also, you want to make sure you choose pants that are longer than ankle length so that you're able to cut them shorter and still have enough fabric left to create a nice hem to encase your elastic. So with all that in mind, let's get into the jogger style refashion tutorial. The very first thing you're going to want to do is try on your pants and pin up one of the pant legs to the finished length that you want your jogger style pants to have. This is going to be a guide for us later so that we know how much to chop off of the bottom of the pant legs. Next, take your pants to your sewing table and mark right along the fold in the pant leg where you folded the pant leg up with fabric chalk or a fabric marker, and I marked on both sides, but you really only need to mark one side. You're just marking to show where you want your hem to be. Once you've got your new hem marked, you can then unpin the pant leg and turn the pants inside out so that we can get started with this project. Next, working on the pant leg that has the markings on it, carefully line up the hem of the pant leg so that the two layers of the hem match up perfectly, and make sure to flatten out that pant leg so that everything is nice and flat and lined up. Then use your straight edge ruler to draw a straight line across the pant leg going through your marking. Make sure to use the hem as a guide to keep your line parallel to the original hem. Now we need to add some seam allowance because this line was where we wanted our finished hem to be. So the amount of seam allowance that you add really depends on the width of the elastic that you're planning on using. So generally you would probably use either 1 inch or 2 inch elastic for the ankle of a jogger style pant. So if you're using 1 inch elastic, you'll want to draw your seam allowance line 1 1/4 inch below your original line. And if you're using 2 inch elastic, you'll want to draw your seam allowance line 2 1/4 inches below your original line. Next, measure up from the hem of the pants to your lower seam allowance line to figure out how much you're about to cut off the bottom of the pant leg. Then go in with your rotary cutter or scissors and cut along that lower seam allowance line to cut off the bottom of the pant leg. Now we need to cut the bottom off of the other pant leg to match. So line up the hem of the other pant leg and get it all laying nice and flat just like you did for the first pant leg. Then use the measurement from the bottom of the other pant leg and measure up that same amount from the bottom of the second pant leg and cut with your rotary cutter right along the edge of the ruler to cut the bottom of the second pant leg off to match. Let's get our elastic ready to go now. So to figure out how long of a piece of elastic that you need, measure loosely around your ankle with your measuring tape. And you want to measure loosely because you probably don't want your finished jogger pants to fit tightly. So measure it with the amount of looseness that you want your finished pants to have in the ankle. Then add 1/2 inch to that measurement for seam allowance and cut 2 pieces of elastic to that length. Now let's set these pieces of elastic aside for later and start preparing the hems of these 2 pant legs. So the first thing you're going to want to do is finish the raw edges on the bottom of each of those hems. So I used my serger for this, but you could use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, pinking shears, whatever way you want to finish your raw edges. And here they are, serged, finished, and ready to go. Next, we need to turn the hem of each pant leg to the wrong side by 1 1/4 inch if you're using 1 inch elastic, or 2 1/4 inches if you're using 2 inch elastic. And you're going to want to take this to your ironing board, give it a good pressing, get your hem nice and flat and even, and pin it in place. Then you can turn the pants right sides out and take them to your sewing machine and top stitch your hems in place, sewing just further than 1 inch beyond the folded edge. And you want to sew almost all the way around your hem, but not all the way. You want to leave enough of an opening that you can insert your elastic. So I usually like to leave an opening that's at least 1.5 times the width of my elastic so that I know it will fit. Now let's insert this elastic. So grab one of your pieces of elastic and attach a safety pin to one end. Then turn the pants wrong sides out so that's easier to get to the hem. Once you have your pants turned wrong sides out again, find the opening that you left in one of the hems and push the elastic into the opening, safety pin end first. Then use the safety pin to push the elastic further and further through the hem, sliding the fabric back over the elastic to move it further through the hem. Just make sure that you don't lose the loose end of the elastic into the hem or you will have to start over. So if you have to, you can also use a safety pin on the loose end and secure it to the outside of the hem so that you don't lose it into the hem. Once you get the elastic all the way through the hem casing, you should have both ends of elastic emerging from opposite sides of the opening that you left in the hem. Take the safety pin off of the elastic and then overlap the two ends of elastic by 1/4 of an inch. You just want to be very sure that your elastic is not twisted at all anywhere through that casing when you overlap the elastic ends. Once you have them overlapped, you can go ahead and take it to your sewing machine and, pushing the fabric out of the way as much as possible, sew the two ends of elastic together with a zigzag stitch. And I like to go over it 3 or 4 times to make sure it's super secure and will never come undone. Next, pull on the fabric of the ankle hem to get the elastic to hide inside of the ankle casing. Once you have the elastic inside of the casing, pin the opening that you left in the hem. Then take that to your sewing machine and finish sewing your hem to close up that opening, and you finished your very first jogger ankle. Finally, repeat that exact same process to insert the elastic and finish the hem of the second pant leg. And that's all there is to it. Here's how the finished pants turned out. And if you tried this on your pants, I hope that you love your new jogger style pants and get lots of wear out of them.